area. Gwinnett Business Radio is brought to you by Farratech. Farratech, great people, remarkable service.
And hello again, everybody. This is Stephen Julian, and welcome to another award-winning edition of Gwinnett Business Radio. And I am here with Mike Salmon, but Mike is back in the booth. Mike is producing today, so he is letting me fly solo. So clearly he's ill, but we'll pass on that. Mike, you doing okay today?
I'm not ill at all.
Well,
we just have so many wonderful guests. I mean,
Yes.
we are bursting at the seams once again this week.
yes.
That there was no room for me.
There's no room for you at the table, but there is room for you at in the booth. And also, the other reason you're back there is because we will be putting this over our YouTube channel. So Trey is helping with the video, and we've got some fantastic guests. So
and we're tweeting live. We
Yeah.
are all over the place right now.
You're doing great.
Yes.
And
Actually, you're all over the place
well,
right now.
I am very nervous that I don't ruin this show, so I will do my best.
Too late.
Yeah. We have some fantastic guests today. We will be talking with Danielle Cheung from Bank of America Merrill Lynch. We also will be talking with Emily Truax and Rich Aaron from Chateau Elan Winery and Resort. And we also will be talking with Laure Hoffman from the C12 Group. So great guests. We look forward to speaking with each of them. But we are going to start with Danielle Cheung from Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Danielle, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Stephen. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Now, usually on this show, one of our favorite questions to ask first is always, hey, tell us a little bit about your business. In your case, I don't think there's anyone listening who hasn't heard of Bank of America or know, oh, I think they're a bank. But specifically, you are the Senior Vice President and Market Executive with Business Banking in Metro Atlanta. So talk specifically about business banking and what you do with Bank of America.
Sure, would be happy to. Although I will tell you a quick statistic about Bank of America that probably folks don't know is that we are actually the oldest bank in Atlanta, dating back to our one of our heritage institutions, CNS Bank.
Nice.
So 140 years in Atlanta. So very proud of that.
I learned something today already, 5 minutes into the show. Well done.
All right. Well, thank you. So I'll tell you a little about business banking. So I came to join business banking about 10 months ago, and it's been a fantastic ride. We focus on businesses with top-line revenue of $5 million to $50 million. So middle market companies, small businesses that are growing, and we provide, basic commercial banking services. So really think about business owners who need working capital, loans to finance their real estate acquisitions. Maybe they want to do a merger or buy a company, and we can finance those. And then we also do things on the product side. So products that can help them manage their day-to-day cash if they have investments that they're looking to manage. But also, with more of the businesses in Metro Atlanta becoming more internationally focused, whether it be importing or exporting, trying to set up subsidiaries in foreign countries, we can do all the services related to that. So maybe foreign exchange, looking at their currency exposures. So we really, what we do is we bring the whole breadth and depth of all of the services of Bank of America to these clients, which, at some of the other banks, they may not be able to access across the spectrum. So we're really proud of our offering and what we can do for those clients. And it's been a fantastic opportunity for me to help lead that group.
Fantastic. So I think when some business owners are thinking about the business banking, there are so many different things that it can involve, right?
That's right.
And not just for them, but also for their employees. If they have multiple employees,
That's right.
there's business banking that can be offered to them as well. So I think when it comes to all those different services, I think I'll ask the question, are there 2 or 3 that you found that are great first steps where a business owner can be introduced to Bank of America, and what are some of those main services that you would say, hey, this is a great way to have us first come in and start a relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that commercial banking is a very relationship-oriented business, right? And so, sometimes it's hard if you've, been with one commercial bank and they've really serviced your needs, but maybe your business is growing and you're sort of, they just don't have everything you need anymore. We can start helping by just talking around some of those services. We often find that, for example, credit card processing, merchant services, we have a fantastic program with a lot of technology, point of service technology and things that can help businesses that maybe have sales folks who are on the road. So that's always a good entry point. A lot of times businesses are very equipment heavy and dependent. So they may have trucks or they may be looking to buy certain machinery. We have a fantastic equipment finance program in both leasing and loans. So those are some of the things. But one of the things we find is that our consultative approach is often a great first step where we just sit with a business and talk through what have they been doing, what are the gaps, where can we strategize with them around improving their working capital cycles, possibly help them finance some things that they haven't thought about before. So it's really about, to your point, there are a few products we often find are the ones that kind of pique folks' interest because we are a little different in some of those areas. But what we find our big differentiator is that, hands-on coaching approach on how they can make their business more bankable and really how they can access the capital they need to grow.
I like the idea that, and certainly in business banking, I would think if you or any other business banker were being honest, hey, we would like to have all the services that we can offer to a business and have them use all of our services. But I like how you said that if they already have a relationship with another bank and it's just the fact that they can't do something,
right?
There's a lot that you can do that other banks can't do. So that certainly helps.
That's right. And, we often find that when we first meet with prospective clients, they don't even sometimes think of us in this space because they think, well, Bank of America, they really want large corporations,
right.
The IPO, the next Google. And we do those things, obviously, but we have a whole dedicated segment across the country in we have 58 different markets where we focus just on business banking.
Wow. That's
so
nice.
It's really a really important business for us and one that we are not only focused on our existing clients, but really looking to grow and expand across the country.
So are there any other client segments that you would say that the bank really is looking to focus on that you want to present and talk about?
So that's an interesting and very timely question. So in Georgia, especially in Metro Atlanta, we are really focused on coming together as a business to grow all of our segments. And we've got 8 different lines of business banking being one of them, and there's 4 that focus specifically on companies and then 4 that focus on individuals. So for companies, we do everything from small business, businesses that with as little as maybe $250,000 in revenue up to $5 million. Obviously, our business banking segment takes over from there. And then we've got segments that focus on those sort of upper middle market, large corporate names, and then our investment bank, which does the multinational global companies, the Fortune 500s. So really across the spectrum. And then on the personal side, we've got our banking centers, or some folks call them branches, but where any individual can walk in, and we've really focused on making sure that those are welcoming for all our clients. We have many different languages, especially in Gwinnett County, so that if you are a business owner or an individual who's looking to speak Mandarin or Korean, we've got folks there that can help you. And then we've got our wealth management platforms for those households that maybe have a little bit more income. And we've got a platform for anywhere from $50,000 in investable assets up to our ultra high net worth platform in Merrill Lynch and U.S. Trust, which can do wealth planning and tax planning and, strategies for business exits. So the whole spectrum.
I like it that, there's an old saying that you can't be all things to all people.
That's right.
But what Bank of America has done is said, we're going to separate into segments.
That's
so, right. Hey, this group can be great for a small business. Your group can be great for that mid-sized business, mm-hmm. $5 million to $50 million in top line. So I like the way that you guys have kind of tackled the issue to try, again, to not be all things to all people, but hey, I can be what I need for this group of people. So that's right. That's a good segment.
And we also share across the segment. So let's say the business is with us and we really feel like they need to start accessing more capital market products. We can transfer them to our commercial bank, and they can focus on maybe some of the needs that we don't really offer in our group. And so we share it. And the same thing, we very often get calls from our small business colleagues who will say, well, we've been banking this business for years, but they need more sophisticated products. Can you help them in business banking?
I like it. Now, one of the other reasons we wanted to have you on the show in particular is we wanted to talk Bank of America. Again, as I started the interview, it's a company that most people have heard of. Again, I learned that the oldest bank here in Atlanta, which is fantastic. But so let's bring that focus kind of down to the metro area and specifically to Gwinnett County, because it's not just about business. It's also about reaching out. It's about partnering and being involved in the local community. So how is, specifically in the Gwinnett business community, how is Bank of America and your segment, business banking, getting involved?
Yeah, so we have, so to step back, we've got about 5,000 employees in the Metro Atlanta, and 10% of those sit just in Gwinnett County. And we've got everything from senior executives to folks in our banking centers that are sitting in and focused just on our clients in Gwinnett. I myself have an office here in Duluth, and I've got bankers in the business bank that just focus on our business banking clients here, and we have a whole small business team as well. So we really are ingrained in the community. We've also are members of the Gwinnett Chamber, a Chairman's Club member, and I've been getting very involved there. I'm actually going to be part of their membership drive in a couple weeks. I'm chairing a team to focus on trying to bring more strength into the chamber. And then the other thing I'll talk a little bit about is the fact that Bank of America as a whole is very focused on philanthropy and volunteerism. So just in the Metro Atlanta area last year, our employees committed 45,000 hours of volunteerism, and our foundation contributed over $3 million in grants to Metro Atlanta through matching gift programs as well as direct grants. And we also have deployed some of those funds here in Gwinnett. So we have a partnership with Junior Achievement, and we've supported the newer site here in Lawrenceville. And then we also have a very close partnership with the United Way, where many of those dollars have found their way to Gwinnett through some of the organizations like the Boy Scouts of Northeast Georgia Council, Friends of Gwinnett County Senior Services, Gwinnett County Community Clinic, the Partnership Against Domestic Violence. So we're really making sure that we're taking care of the whole metro area and obviously Gwinnett as well.
When it comes to the volunteerism, I would imagine there are certainly, and you named off some of the organizations that Bank of America as a corporation has partnered with. Are you guys also open to individuals, employees kind of going, I want to steer my volunteer hours towards something that's near and dear to my heart?
Absolutely, and we encourage that. So we actually give employees up to 6 work hours per month where they can go out and volunteer in the community, and we highly encourage it.
Wow. So let me just clarify. With
Yes.
work hours, that means they are still being paid
That's
to
right.
volunteer. So that is putting your money where your mouth is and
Absolutely.
saying, hey, we believe in volunteerism so much, we're going to pay you to go volunteer. That is part of your work experience. That is fantastic.
Absolutely, and our market president is very focused on getting our employees out in the community to do as much as we can. You know, we've kind of upped our goal for volunteerism this year. We want to surpass the 45,000 hours from 2016. And so for example, I myself, I recently joined the board of Habitat for Humanity. I spent a lot of time there, hammer and nails, as well as, giving my expertise on the finance side. And so we encourage our senior leaders to get engaged in the community, all the way down to our banking center employees. So everybody is really encouraged to spend their time. And then we also have a grant program, as I mentioned, where businesses, mostly not-for-profits, obviously, can go and apply for grants around our core mission. And so we really focus on economic mobility, economic empowerment. So we do 2 grant cycles a year, one in January and February, and that's really around workforce development, basic needs, community development. And then we do a second cycle in May to June, like around affordable housing, the arts, community revitalization. And so if you go to our website, bankofamerica.com/foundation, you can actually, if you're a not-for-profit, you can go and apply for one of these grants and, do some great things in the community. And we certainly encourage the businesses in the not-for-profits in Gwinnett to do that as well.
And I think businesses who are involved with not-for-profits obviously
Absolutely.
can help with that as well. That's great stuff. Now, last kind of question for you, and then I'll let you wrap up by
Sure.
making sure people can contact you. You kind of talked about the multiculturalism of Gwinnett County. I mean, obviously, we are one of the most diverse communities in the country. So talk a little bit about diversity and how Bank of America is doing that with employees and also with servicing the community. And then also talk specifically, you are, as a woman, talk a little bit about working at Bank of America as a woman and what Bank of America is doing to empowering women.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually one of the things that attracted me to come over to Bank of America was really their focus on diversity and inclusion in women. And so I'll take it in 2 pieces. In terms of the diversity and inclusion, I mean, we have, for example, a supplier diversity program where we've focused over $2.5 billion of our spending toward minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, LGBT-owned businesses, really focused on just making sure that we have a fulsome program where we deploy our spending. We also have really tried to focus on the different multicultural aspects of Gwinnett County. So we made sure in our banking centers that we have folks that speak the languages of the local communities. So if there's a large Hispanic presence, we'll make sure we have Spanish-speaking bankers. Obviously, here in Duluth, where we are today, we have a lot of Asian-speaking bankers. So just really making sure that our clients feel comfortable. And then as it relates to women, Bank of America is a tremendous supporter of women. I mean, over 50% of our global workforce is women, and 40% of our management team, and 30% of our board of directors. And we empower women in a couple different ways, like obviously as part of our supplier diversity program, but we have a grant program here in the U.S. where we work with the Tory Burch Foundation, and we give grants to female entrepreneurs. We have a program called Vital Voices, where we senior executives from the bank will mentor women in growing countries on how to become entrepreneurs, how to make a business plan, how to make a successful business. So I'm really proud of the way we focused on it. And even in our wealth management business, for example, our U.S. Trust platform, they have a socially responsible investment vehicle that's just for invest in causes related to women empowerment. And wealth planning specifically for women. So really proud of what they've done. And like I said, it was a major reason why I came to Bank of America.
Fantastic. So we normally wrap up the interview by telling people how to get in touch with the company. Obviously, when it comes to Bank of America, anyone listening nationally or internationally can get involved either through the website or go to a local branch. But I want you to focus specifically here locally. You mentioned bankofamerica.com/foundations for the grants and people who want to get involved on that side. But let's focus specifically on the business banking. How do people, if someone's in that particular segment you work in or some of the other segments, how do they get in touch with Bank of America when it comes to business banking?
Yeah, so absolutely. So anybody obviously can walk into a branch, and if they are looking to get in contact with a business banker, they can talk to someone in the branch and somebody will connect them up with somebody on our team. They can certainly reach out to us via our website. And just, we've got business bankers, as I said, who sit here in Gwinnett. And if folks want to reach out to me personally, I'm happy to connect them with the right bankers. So, we're really excited to do more in this community. We're really focused on not only in Metro Atlanta, but growing what we're doing in Gwinnett. And we're excited, and I'm looking forward to getting some of those calls.
Fantastic. Danielle Cheung, Senior Vice President and Market Executive with Metro Atlanta Business Banking with Bank of America. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Stephen. That was great.
Before we get to our next guest, I just want to remind everybody that we are broadcasting from the Subaru of Gwinnett studios. And Subaru is a wonderful title sponsor of our studio here. And so we all know that love is what makes a Subaru. Just like Mike, you can get big savings and enjoy a hassle-free experience at Subaru of Gwinnett, where people sell cars. Visit SubaruofGwinnett.com and join their family today, or come in and see the difference. Maybe, again, like Mike, you're already a Subaruist. Then follow Subaru of Gwinnett's Facebook page for the latest Subaru offers, news, and community events.
Thank you for thinking of me.
You're very welcome, Mike. And now we're going to ignore you again because we're going to go to our next guests, which they are from Chateau Elan Winery and Resort. We have Emily Truax and Rich Aaron. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Fantastic. So, Chateau Elan Winery and Resort. I'll let you guys fight over who gets to tell us all about what Chateau Elan Winery and Resort is.
Well, I'll speak a little bit to the leisure side for sure, and I'll let Rich cover kind of more of the business side and what we do for that. But Chateau Elan's been around for years and years. I think most people in the Atlanta and Gwinnett area are pretty familiar with Chateau Elan. I like to always say, if you haven't visited in the last 3 years, you need to come back because we're now the most awarded winery on the East Coast, which is really exciting. So Simone, who is our current winemaker, he came in 2012. And at that time, we were exporting and selling about 7,000 cases of wine. And today, and I brought this, which he sent me yesterday, which is updated numbers. We're now selling 35,000 cases that we are actually making right up there, right up the road.
Wow.
Braselton, Georgia, which is a huge deal, yes. Rich is holding up, for those of you who cannot see it right now, but he's holding up one of his favorite bottles of wine.
Can you open that too and drink some more?
The Mameli.
Oh, Rich is telling us to open the box and bring out more wine.
Since she jumped right into what we do as a winery, I wanted to have more of these bottles out here because, first of all, they're beautiful. I'm going to show you, send them around, pass them around.
We're not going to open them yet.
Why not?
But we are. Well, no, we're not. Just wait, Rich.
He already said
we
that.
We believe sharing is caring.
That's true.
We wanted to bring some wine.
And Chateau Elan is all about the wine. It's a fantastic thing. It's a great thing to share. It's been really hard for me as a salesman to tell people. Some of my old coworkers are outside.
So we have American Rose. We have Dolce Rosso.
That's pronounced rosé.
Rosé. Oh, American Rosé. I forgot.
I
didn't see the accent on it. My bad.
Chateau Elan. So it is a French name, of course. And actually, just a quick fact about that, too. The chateau is actually the the exact footprint of a chateau over in France.
Nice.
We'll get into some of what the owners, what the founders of the place actually set out, but that was one of their big deals. They saw that. Fantastic stuff. Anyway,
so we talked about the winery. Emily, I'm going to go back to you and talk a little bit about the event, the meeting, the conference. Just kind of talk about because you made a good point. Chateau Elan. I think most everybody who's lived in the Metro Atlanta or driven up 85, we've all seen it, right? We've seen the villa, the castle looking place.
You can see it as you're driving down 85. You see the silhouette, sunsets behind it. It's beautiful.
So talk about actually there and people who go there and kind of as a staycation or a meeting resort. Talk a little bit about that kind of stuff.
Well, it's a good example of what we do in the local area. You know, we get about 14 million impressions on our Facebook page every 6 months. And 70% of those are in the Atlanta and the Gwinnett area.
Okay.
So we're all about the local traveler. We love doing events that are for local guests. We love doing fun live music at the winery. We love doing couples staycations. We get a lot of couples coming up from Atlanta, coming up from Gwinnett, staying for either celebrating an anniversary or they're celebrating a baby moon or they're just coming up for fun, which we love that too. So we have 7 different dining outlets. Most recently, we have a wonderful new restaurant in our winery called Mark, which is really wonderful. And I spoke with the winery director yesterday, and they're planning on changing up the menu weekly. So it's a great place to go and then go again and make it a regular kind of date night, beautiful veranda that overlooks the vines. And this time of year is harvest season. We're going into that. That'll start about August 1st. It depends a little bit on rainfall. So we've had a ton of rain here in the area. So that's really impacting the grapes this year. And our winemaker is kind of monitoring that very closely. But not only that, but we have a beautiful European-style spa. A lot of couples like to stay in the spa. It's very exclusive because there's only 14 spa suites, and they like to keep it completely quiet there, so they don't even have coffee makers in the rooms. They hand deliver every morning your latte to your room, so that it's just this escape from reality. So it's wonderful. And I'll let Rich talk a little bit about the conference space. But of course, conference and leisure, they both enjoy the wine, they both enjoy the spa and golf, you know, all of that. So the lines between those are very blurry.
So there's a spa, there's golf, there's tennis, there's, I mean,
exactly. I
think nature trails, everything.
We like to call it, it's a best kept secret in Atlanta. Like she said, everyone knows about it, been out there maybe 10 or 15 years ago, but it's changed so much.
Well, if you keep talking about it on Business Radio X, it might not be the best kept secret.
That's not a secret anymore.
That is why, that's right. So now you want to be the best known secret,
yes,
right?
Please.
I don't know. That might be well, anyway, let's go ahead. So talk a little bit more about the winery and the conference centers and how those.
And so I'll start off. The way I usually bring people out and talk about Chateau Elan is my own story. I've been in the area for 20, 30 years now. But we went out, my wife and I went out there the first time about 10 years ago on our 10th anniversary. We said, beautiful place, fantastic stuff. The food is excellent. And we had the wine that kind of ruined it. The wine was not so good years ago. But like she said, if you haven't been out in a few years, you got to come back. The wines are just fantastic now. And I even bought one of these bottles. But the different wines that are out there now are fantastic. The winemaker has just turned it all around. As everyone knows in Georgia, the muscadine grows very well. It grows wild, goes crazy. He took those and made sure that that's the only thing growing out on our fields. Which, am I right with that? There's no more of the red and white grapes.
He ripped up all of the vineyards in 2013.
Wow.
Because, and I know it was controversial at the time. Because he said, you know, these Georgia fields, the way the land red Georgia clay doesn't grow certain types of grapes well, which makes sense. So he said, let's grow what grows well. Let's grow naturally. We have sister wineries in California, which is where we get some of the grapes that we don't grow well here in Georgia.
So some of the wines that he makes here come from grapes from elsewhere, but he uses the muscadine grapes.
Right. So let's put those
grown here locally.
Okay. We make a great sweet wine out of the muscadine, and this summer wine has been one of the staples for a long time down there. It's always been a great feature. But
it says summer wine. It says grape wine with peach essence, which
correct, exactly.
That sounds like a great Georgia
It's
wine.
It's
right?
fantastic
There
for a
you
lot
go.
of people, and I'm going to let you talk about the rosé because that's a neat one to do too. But this rosé here is made out of muscadine, but he actually ages it in oak barrels. As far as I know, he's the first and only one to do that in the world. So it takes a little bit of the sweetness away and makes it a more dry wine.
Okay.
So those dry wine drinkers will love it. Now this one, the rosé, there's actually a blanc and there's also a rouge. So fantastic. As a wine drinker myself, so I like red wines. Moved up to that level. You kind of go through a progression when you're a wine drinker, from sweet wines up to more red, dry wine. That's what I like. This Mameli is one of, or
Mameli?
Yep, Mameli, and there's also a
Mameli.
Meritage in
Sorry,
this
it's
one.
M.
So it's one of my favorites. But now I can appreciate these other sweet wines just after tasting it and understanding the process and how they're made. So the winery tour is fantastic. Getting back to my story, I used to say that I didn't want to come up there. It's like I went once and it's like nice, but I don't need to go back. But I think everybody really needs to try it out again. All of you are welcome to come anytime.
You read my mind there, because I was going to say this came out of your experience of 10 years ago. It wasn't all that great. There are plenty of people who have gone on the Chateau Elan Winery tour and the tasting years ago.
Right.
And we're like, well, that was interesting.
Exactly.
But it's exactly what I would expect from a winery in Georgia.
Something
right?
like that. Exactly. We get that a lot, and I love
come
turning
back.
heads.
Try it again.
I love changing people's minds.
Love it. Love it.
Like she said, we're now the most awarded winery on the East Coast. That's if you count some of the great places, like the Biltmore has been making wine for a long time, doing very well, but we're more awarded than they are. And it means the East Coast, the entire East Coast.
Wow. Okay, so Emily, I'm going to go back to you. You gave us some stats. Now, you said it went from 7,000 to 35,000. Is that? I didn't get a time part with that. Is that a year?
That's this year.
Okay,
this
so that's
year,
during
35,000 cases. 25 to 27 actually now, because we came out with a couple more yesterday that aren't released to the public yet.
So 27 different types
27 different types of wines.
Wow.
Which is a big deal. We
That's
used to have
huge.
7 in 2012. So I mean, that's 20 more types of wine
and that's
that are
letting
coming out of Georgia.
And that's letting the wine master kind of have a little freedom and try some different things and
If you go to his office, it looks like a chemistry lab.
Yeah.
It really does. Okay, because he has all these different bottles. He's mixing these different flavors. He's testing different things, and I think that's one of the reasons, because he's so thorough, that we are so awarded, and we're beating out wineries from all over the world, which is really cool. And we're proud to be Georgia grown and made.
Yeah.
And to kind of have that claim and say, hey, this wine's coming out of Georgia, made in Georgia, grown in Georgia, winning awards all over the world. That's a big deal.
We love to be around him because he does this a lot. Try this. Try this. So he's a lot of fun.
That's a different type of wine tasting. Okay, so I'm gonna switch gears here a little bit, and certainly anyone who's listening, go try the tour. No matter when you are listening to this, go try the tour. Do some wine tasting. Find out what new wines are coming out with every single year, and hear about them. But specifically, we want to talk. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about Vineyard Fest 2017. Emily, I'm gonna bring that question to you. I believe it's November 5th, right? 2017.
November 5th, 2017.
Okay. Talk a little bit about Vineyard Fest and what people can expect if they come to that.
Well, Vineyard Fest has been going on a long time. A lot of people in the area either went to Vineyard Fest many years ago, or they at least have heard of it. But we've kind of added on a lot of different aspects to it. And what's really fun is it's very much an all-inclusive event. So people go, you get to grape stomp, which is so much fun, and it looks great. Social media, it's really fun to be able to share and, get that grape stomping moment, which is so much fun. We have rails people can hold on. It's a very safe experience. And we have hose for people to wash their feet off, so you can, slip back into your sandals. You're
nice.
Okay. And then also, of course, we have wine tasting. We have chef-curated meals.
What's done with the wine that they stomp?
We do not actually use the grapes that people are
thought that
physically
was important.
stomping.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a great point, Rich, because
So there's no Athlete's Foot brand that's coming out
there
this year?
isn't.
All right,
We
that's
have
good.
a beautiful large machine that does that in a great, very sanitized fashion.
But the grape stomping is an experience.
It
It's
is.
how it's been
Traditional.
done in the past. Exactly.
So much
Very
fun.
good.
So
Yeah.
much fun. And people get chef curated dishes. They have we have in our vat room tons of tables with lots of different food. You can eat as much as you want. You can drink as much as you want. I know it's dangerous.
That's all I need to hear.
We
I'm in.
have-
We do have 400 rooms on site now, so that's
Okay.
that's why you can.
And
drink as
usually
much
it
as
is
you
a
want.
sellout event. So we're going to start pre-sale August 1st.
Okay.
And then tickets go on sale August 15th.
Okay.
And typically they sell out by mid-October. So I always recommend if people say, hey, we are 90% sure we're going to go ahead and grab those tickets. Make sure that you get them. Just because it's a beautiful time of year. There's lots of beautiful pictures in the vineyards, and we have a wine walk that's like a nature trail that goes through the vines, which is great. And for conferences, people use that same, and they go on segways through the vineyards. And so we have for vineyard, a lot of companies come up from Atlanta. They want to do their conference there, which is a huge thing. But it's because, hey, where else can you go and ride segways through vines in Georgia?
Well, I was going to, and
Nowhere.
The great news for all of our listeners, if you listen to this after it sells out or after Vineyard Fest happens, I've got wonderful news. Number one, you can wait for next year because there will be Vineyard Fest 2018, 2019, 2020. And if you missed it, oh well, let's go up and take a tour. Let's go up and go golfing. Let's go up and stay in the spa. Let's go up and hike the trail. I mean, there are so many things. Anyone listening at any time can find something that they would enjoy. So you don't get to stomp the grapes until the following year. Who cares? That's okay. Go just take the tour and take some tasting. So fantastic stuff. So last question. Well, actually, last question. I think we've covered everything except you've talked about being getting the most awarded winery on the East Coast, but you guys also have been named top 5 winery golf resort, right?
In the world.
In the world.
In the
That's
world.
right.
The company is, I think there was one from California, one from Venezuela, one from New Zealand, something like that. So worldwide, Orbit's put that out. And
only
very
top
proud of it.
5. We try.
You gotta do better.
We'll go for number 1 next time.
I mean, that's fantastic. You got that. What a great job.
It's right up the road
place.
from us.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off there, but it's right up the road. That's the impressive thing to me, that it's been up there, near my house for the past 20 years, and I just have not gone up. But now that I'm working there, they actually, one other thing, we would like a couple other things. The reason they actually were able to hire me is for my skills with the business travel. We actually just put on another hotel because we put in a 12,000 square foot ballroom. We needed extra rooms. So they decided to put on a branded property, the Hilton product Hampton Inn. So that's on property. It's a beautiful addition. They actually spent an extra $1.5 million just to make it look more like the Chateau as well. So it's not your typical Hampton Inn look that you've probably seen out in there, but and it overlooks the vineyard. We have some of the best vineyard views right from there. So I'd love to invite you out for that. But also the new website, we didn't talk much about that, but the website has everything on there, beautiful pictures, and a way to get in touch with us all.
I have a great way to talk about the website.
Please.
Why don't, Emily, why don't you give everybody the different ways that they can get in touch with Chateau Elan, including the new website?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. We launched a new website last week. Which was a huge deal. We kind of went to each department. We talked to them about what their needs were. We talked to a lot of our guests and a lot of our clients and a lot of our conference members and local Atlanta businesses and said, what do you need from us? What can we do to provide a place online you can go to not only learn about our products, but help plan your meeting and plan your wedding and plan your event? So we came out with this brand new website. So chateauelan.com is wonderful. Like Danielle talked about as far as donations and giving back to the community, chateauelan.com/donations is a great place to go. We donate so many different things, cases of wine for auctions and services and all sorts of things to local businesses. So they can go there. They can go to our Facebook page, chateauelan.com. Of course, www.facebook.com/Chateau Elan and Twitter Chateau Elan.
And if people just want to use a phone, I believe the main phone number to get to Chateau Elan.
Do we have one of those?
Is it? Do we have a phone number?
We do. 678-425-0900.
Very good. She had to look down for that phone number, I think.
I did. Usually
Sorry,
I do all of our digital and online
exactly.
marketing. I push the website. That is my thing.
Chateau Elan, ChateauElan.com. I've got a challenge for our Business Radio X listeners and listeners of Gwinnett Business Radio. I want you to try and find something you can't do at Chateau Elan. Now, in order to do that, you have to go. You have to use their stuff. You have to take a tour or stay in the hotel or use a meeting room. And then I want you to say, yeah, but they don't offer blank. Because at the end of this interview, I can't think of anything that I would want to do that I can't do at Chateau Elan.
Beautiful.
So go ahead and book a meeting room, book a hotel room. And when you do, make sure you tell them that you heard about them on Business Radio X, and we are helping them stop being the best kept secret in Atlanta and start being the most known top 5 golf and winery, top 5 winery golf resorts in the world.
Awesome.
So, Emily, Truax, Rich Aaron, thank you guys very much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, before we get to our last interview, just want to remind everybody that Gwinnett Business Radio is brought to you by Farratech. Farratech has been in business for 25 years by manufacturing top-of-the-line toner supplies. They offer outstanding customer service. Farratech offers a 100% guarantee on all Farratech products, so you know they stand behind their quality. For more information, visit Farratech.com. That's Farratech.com. We have with us right now, our last guest is Laure Hoffman with the C12 Group. Laure, welcome.
Hey, Stephen. Good to be here.
Good to see you today. Now, C12 Group, normally we ask, hey, tell everybody about your business, but I'm going to ask you to answer the question. Tell everybody what C12 is and also what C12 is not.
All right. C12 Group has been around for 25 years, Stephen, and it's really exciting because it was kind of birthed out of a need for some peer advisory support for business owners, but specifically business owners who had a faith that they wanted to bring into their business decisions and actually running their companies. It's not a Bible study. It's not a consulting practice. It's not just a business meeting. It's actually a peer advisory group that draws on the experience and the knowledge and passion of the other members around the table. So my job with C12 Group is to identify the very best businesses here in Gwinnett County that have a desire to run great businesses for a greater purpose. So that's my job.
Fantastic. So why would someone want to select C12 over other different types of peer advisory groups?
Right, because there are a lot of really wonderful peer advisory groups in Gwinnett County. And what's really unique about C12, Stephen, is that we do have a very strong biblical basis for everything that we do. And so when you come to a full day meeting for C12, which is monthly, then you're really integrating your faith and your core values based on your faith into your business practices and all your decision making. So some of the wonderful groups that are out there are Vistage, and that's a wonderful business group. And in fact, the founder of C12, Buck Jacobs, actually was really interested in becoming a part of Vistage, which is a great forum if anyone's ever heard of that, or mastermind groups. But for a lot of people, their faith really wasn't a part of their business. And so this is interesting. When I first got into business, several decades ago, you didn't really talk about politics and faith in the business community. And now that sort of is not really the way it is. People do bring their values to work every day, and they don't want to segment their lives in such a way as to leave what they believe, their core values and their faith, at home. And so C12 does a really great job of integrating that in a way that really impacts business and really is a blessing to the employees and the employees' families, the vendors and their families, the customers, obviously, and, of course, the community.
Now, I think some business owners who might be listening say, well, I'm already part of something. I'm part of a networking group, or I'm already part of something. I'm part of a group where we bring in guest speakers. They might not have ever been part of a peer advisory. So why don't we kind of talk a little bit about what a C12 meeting would look like? If someone were to come and be a part of a group, what would that look like?
Right. So it's really fun, Stephen, because you think, what in the world are you going to do from 9 to 4? that seems like such a long time. But what's exciting is these business owners are so involved with the actual running of their business. I mean, their hair's on fire, and they get to work, and they're having crises with production or hiring issues or management issues, and they don't really have time to step back and work on their business. And so that's what we do, one day a month. And so it starts off with a devotional because, as I said, these business owners come into a meeting and their hair's on fire. They may have had an argument with their spouse or some issues with their children, and they really need to sort of come together and think, okay, where can we just sort of have our place to, really get peaceful, right? So we start with
slow down,
right, and really think through what this day needs to be for them. So we start with a devotional, and then we have some time where we share our prayer requests. It's really cool because everybody's dealing with something, and those burdens we take into our business, even into our marriages, into our family life. And so it's great to see them really gather around and pray for one another. But then we have a very important business segment. So we're always unpacking various best practices as it relates to business areas and function areas. And then the last part of the day of the morning is actually a ministry segment, which is, where does Jesus really show in your business? Like, how are you helping people really know that you care about them? How are you really showing people that you value them as individuals? And then we have lunch. After lunch, we usually have 12 men and women at the table. And so once a month, we have one business owner to give a core business presentation. And that core business presentation is about 90 minutes. So half that time is unpacking their business model, their methods, kind of the ways in which they, measure their business impact. And then the other half is just having their peers ask questions and give input into various issues that business owner is facing. And so it's a really rich time of accessing people's their business acumen and their experience. But finally, what we do is we actually end with an open forum time where business owners bring real life issues, and they talk about kind of how they do this. And there's all kinds of issues from trying to figure out what kind of technology they need for their business to expand it, and what sort of accounting practices, all the way to how am I going to get rid of this? How am I going to really be able to honor this employee who's probably needs to retire but isn't ready to retire?
So I think what I find interesting is these business owners come from the I'll use your words of their hair on fire, although that's not as much
that's
of a
not
case
true
for me.
You, no.
Yeah. So my eyebrows are on fire. So
your goatee.
Exactly. So these people come from just trying to put out fires all the time and just and focus so much on what is right in front of them, because that's what we have to do a lot of times as business owners. And this day starts with if they're people of faith and are part of this group, it starts with the biggest view that they can have.
The biggest view.
Which is of their Creator. And then by the end of the day, they've gone down into the actual issues in their day-to-day business. So they go and they do it in community. So I think sometimes people might think, so some people might have a vision of, okay, this is a group of faith. The thing I would closely assemble that to is a church. I go to a church and I sit and I listen. Is that what this is? I sit around and listen all day, and I don't think that's what it is at all.
No, it's not. In fact, what's great is my job is not only to get the right people around the table, but also to run a meeting where at the end of the day, the owners say, wow, that was really a huge value to me. Yeah. So really it's about the owners sharing their experiences and creating a forum where they can learn from each other.
Is this group exclusive only to CEOs and owners and people in top leadership of companies?
Right. So we run two different kinds of groups,
okay.
Stephen. We have a CEO, owner, executive group. And so if you are either an owner or you run a business unit that has a substantial, 5 to 10 or more employees, and you have your own budgetary decision-making responsibilities, then you are welcome to sit at that table.
Okay.
The other product, I guess you could say, that we run is a key players group.
Okay.
And so that is a really wonderful opportunity for the owner or executive to bring their leadership team into this mindset of working on the business, and they all get on the same page. They all start thinking strategically in a unified and synergetic way.
Is this key players group, is it restricted to one company and a group of key players group, or is it?
No.
Okay, so
right.
This is more, I'm a key player at a business, and I'm going to be part of a group with other key players
right.
of other
So they're
businesses.
learning from one another too, and they are from different industries and different kinds of business methods, models.
And the point there is you want the peer, it's peer. That's where it comes down to peer advisory.
Peer advisory.
So someone that is underneath a CEO, I don't necessarily want to be in a group with other CEOs because they might take the CEO's, granted, I need to hear that at times, but it's more the issues I'm dealing with will be similar when I'm with other key players. So I like that. Okay. Now, C12, you kind of talked about it. It is a national company.
That's
correct?
Right. It's national.
Is it in all 50 states? I mean, how
So
what's its
we
reach?
have about 100 chairs across the country. So we're in the West Coast, Oregon, Washington State, California, but we go all the way to the East Coast. Okay. There are 2 C12 chairs in Georgia right now, and we're actually expanding the market. So if there's any listeners out there that are businessmen or women who are looking for kind of their next their next passion, their next opportunity, we are looking to hire some chairs for this area. Now, it's my own business. I actually run it myself, and I'm full-time in it, and I actually have equity in the company. So it's a great business model, sort of like what Chick-fil-A does.
And you're a chair, right?
I am a chair,
so
right.
You're one of the chairs here in Georgia. How did you come to be involved with C12?
Well, it's kind of a fun story. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
As I told you, it's 25 years old, right? So in the 90s, I was running a local nonprofit in North Carolina, and the chairman of my board was a business owner, and he was in a C12 group.
Okay.
And I remember just really being struck by how different he was as a business owner. He really integrated his faith and his values into his business practices, and he was just a fantastic board member. And I remember thinking at that time, because I have a business background, wow, when I grow up, I want to be a C12 chair, because I think it's so cool how it impacts men and women's lives who are in business. The marketplace is a mission field. Mm-hmm. There are people in the marketplace, as we know, that never go to church. They weren't raised in church. They may have been hurt by church. Mm-hmm. They may have an interest in exploring their spirituality, but they're not really sure how to do it. So I love the fact that business owners can really run their companies to advance God's kingdom and to really help people see that the gospel's for everyone. Mm-hmm. And it's really life-changing. So I've known about C12 and wanted to do this for a super long time.
Wow, fantastic. So I'm going to ask a very, very ignorant question. I get to do this once a show.
I can't believe that.
So I waited until it was your interview, and I'm going to ask you an ignorant question.
I'm ready.
So C12 is very clearly a faith-based organization,
Surely.
Right? So in order to be in one of the groups, there is a declaration of your faith, I would imagine?
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
What's really nice is that we run the whole continuum. So you've got folks that are going to church, but they're not necessarily integrating their faith. They don't really even understand what that is. But
okay.
the defining characteristic is if you run a business and you believe that God cares about how you run that business, then C12 could be for you.
So at its core, C12 would state that basically we are trying to integrate faith and business.
That's right. And you can be at any point along the continuum.
Okay.
You don't have to be a Billy Graham or a Ravi Zacharias, if you know those folks,
right,
to really understand the value of coming to work and being congruent, living with integrity. You have these commitment to honesty and, being thankful and appreciating people. And you don't have to leave that outside the doors of your office. You can do that within the context of your business.
And again, in the context of coming into this group, they're not coming in and listening to you as the chair all day. And there's it's
right.
it's not come and listen. It's let's work this out together. Right?
Exactly, because even though I have a business background and I've run businesses and done turnarounds, the value for the peers are not me. I'm not the answer man. It's the other peers around the table.
And what's really funny is we started this interview by talking about, it's not a networking group. It's not a come and listen to a guest forum. One of the elements of those things is those are very successful when they're very polished and they're very organized.
Right.
I would imagine a C12 group can get kind of messy.
It can.
And that's good, right?
Yes, it is really good because the peers around the table are holding one another accountable. And so if there's somebody around the table that's sort of gaming and not really being transparent.
A peer is going to advisory.
I'm not going to get on them, but the peer is going to say, hey, look, you're really not shooting us straight. We need you to own it.
What some members who've been part of C12 groups that you've been a part of or you've heard from, what are they saying about their actual experiences?
Well, a lot of people that come into C12, they come because they want to work on their business and they want to really grow the profitability of the company. But recently, as I've been meeting with people around Gwinnett County, they're saying that they feel a little lonely. They feel like they're the only one who's trying to figure out how to live with congruency, their faith in their work. And so they're really anxious and eager to be around people that, kind of have the same struggles as they do, and they can learn from one another. They don't have to have all the answers. A lot of our business owners, it's hard to talk to your spouses about your business challenges because you don't want to worry or stress or put pressure on your spouse. And then your friends at work, you can't really talk to your employees. You can't really talk to your people at church because sometimes they don't really understand what business is like. The pressures of being a business owner. So this is a really safe place to come and really be real and get real answers to challenges.
I would imagine any business owner who's or key player who's interested, they can come and visit. So
yes, they absolutely can. We have about 7 groups right now, Stephen, around the metro Atlanta area that are meeting, and I'm actually getting ready to launch a few more.
Nice.
So what we have right now is an opportunity for a listener who wants to check it out to come as my guest and actually experience a full day to see what it's like at the table. But there's 2 prerequisites.
Okay. Hold on. Everybody get their pens out.
First of all, they have to come on time, and they can't leave early. They got to be in all day.
Okay.
So it's not just stop for an hour and see how it's going.
Right. Yeah.
Secondly, they have to be committed to confidentiality.
Okay.
Because everything that's shared at the table needs to stay at the table.
I like that.
Yeah.
So Laure Hoffman with the C12 Group for those business owners and key players that want to check it out. How do they get in touch with you? How do they get in touch with C12?
Well, I know my phone number.
Oh, good.
Without looking at a piece of paper.
Sorry. Yes, but you didn't live tweet during the show like Emily did.
I know, that's true. I'm counting on other folks to do it for me. 336-202-8366, okay? 336-202-8366. You can text or call that number or reach out to me through email, Laurie.Hoffman@c12.com. But C12group.com, but it's Laure, Laure.Hoffman at C12group.com.
You knew your phone number, but you messed up your website.
I know,
so
I did.
It's okay.
Sorry.
That might have been God teaching you a little bit of humility. So
that's exactly.
You know what I love about this show? We so just to recap, that was Laure Hoffman with C12 Group. Thank you very much for being here. We also had Emily Truax and Rich Aaron from Chateau Elan Winery Resort. We had Danielle Cheung from Bank of America Merrill Lynch. What I love is each of you bring something different to the table for our business community. Danielle was definitely talking about giving back, but also talking about serving business owners by whatever their business needs are when it comes to lending and things like that. We talked about how to have fun. We talked about how to relax and enjoy ourselves and give back to ourselves. And again, Chateau Elan talked about giving back into the community and donations, things like that. But we need to unplug. We need to find a way to relax and enjoy ourselves because we only get one life to live on this earth. And then we talked about faith, and we talked about faith and business going hand in hand. And if that's where you are or where you want to look into, whatever faith you want to look into, get involved in with your soul and spirituality. So what a great show! What a well-rounded show! I want to thank all of you guys for being here, and I want to thank Mike and Trey for helping run things behind the scenes and making me look good, because I know that is an almost impossible job, but they do it so well. And just want to remind everybody that you can enjoy this program or any of our other Gwinnett Business Radio programs anytime, day or night, 24/7 by visiting GwinnettBusinessRadioX.com. We do our shows live there, and we're always streaming other shows on that website. You can also download any of our shows on iTunes or any of your other podcast services. Just search Gwinnett Business Radio. You can also follow us on Twitter at Gwinnett Radio X. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Gwinnett Radio X. And I had to read all of those because there's no way I could remember that. And so there's nothing left to say except to say, for Trey, for Mike, this is Stephen. We'll see you next time on Gwinnett Business Radio.